When I ask you a question, I want you to be honest with yourself. Have you ever woken up after a full night's sleep and still felt foggy, forgetful, or even more tired than before you went to bed? If so, you're not alone. Many people over the age of 60 struggle with this very problem. And the surprising truth is that it may not be about how long you sleep, but rather about how you sleep. That's right. Your sleeping position, your nightly habits, even the way you rest your head on the pillow can either protect your brain or put it at risk as you age. Tonight, I want to gently walk you through this because it's something I've seen time and again in my patients, and I know how life-changing the right adjustments can be. One of my patients, let's call her Margaret, came to me at the age of 67. She was a retired school teacher, lively, intelligent, full of humor, but she had begun to notice small slips in her memory. She'd forget where she left her glasses, or she'd walk into the kitchen and suddenly lose track of why she was there. At first, she laughed it off, but over time, those little lapses grew more frequent. More concerning was the fatigue that followed her all day, even though she insisted she slept 8 hours every single night. Margaret's family feared it might be the beginning of something serious, but as I sat with her and listened, I realized her story mirrored what I'd seen countless times in seniors who thought they were doing everything right. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Dr. Nolan Easton. I've spent over 30 years specializing in men's and women's health with a particular passion for helping people in their 60s, 70s, and beyond enjoy the energy, clarity, and vitality they deserve. What I'm sharing with you today isn't just theory, it's what I've seen work in real lives. The video you're watching, Seniors 60 Plus, Stop Sleeping Like This, Protect Your Brain Overnight, Elderly Advice, is one I wish every older adult could hear. Because when you understand what's happening to your brain while you sleep, you gain the power to protect it and dramatically improve your mornings, your memory, and even your mood. Now here's the fascinating part. Scientists have discovered that while we sleep, the brain isn't just resting, it's working hard, almost like a cleaning crew coming through after a busy day. Toxins, including those linked to memory loss and cognitive decline, are cleared away most efficiently during deep sleep. But here's the catch. The way your body is positioned during that process can make a huge difference in how effectively that cleaning crew does its job. Imagine pouring water through a drain. If the drain is clear and open, the water flows smoothly. But tilt the drain the wrong way, and suddenly things get backed up. That's what happens inside the brain when we sleep in positions that restrict circulation or compress vital pathways. When I explained this to Margaret, she was shocked. She had slept on her back for decades, head propped up by 2 thick pillows. It was comfortable. But as we talked, she realized how often she woke up with a stiff neck, mild headaches, and that heavy grogginess she thought was just part of aging. In reality, her sleeping position was interfering with the very system designed to protect her brain overnight. She wasn't broken, and she certainly wasn't doomed to memory loss. She simply needed to make adjustments that allowed her brain's natural cleaning cycle to work better. And that's what I want for you. I want you to imagine what your mornings could feel like if you woke up clear-headed, rested, and ready to enjoy the day rather than stumbling through it in a fog. For seniors, this isn't just about comfort. It's about protecting brain health, preserving memory, and reducing the risks of long-term cognitive decline. These are changes that could help you maintain independence, keep your wit sharp, and continue living the life you love without unnecessary worry. If this message resonates with you so far, I'd love to know. Just type a simple yes or no in the comments below. I really do read through them because it helps me understand what's hitting home and what questions still linger in your mind. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you don't miss the next piece of advice. It's a small action, but it means we get to stay connected, and I can keep giving you the tools you need to feel your best. Now, going back to Margaret, once she made a few small adjustments, choosing a thinner pillow, changing her sleeping position, and practicing a gentle wind-down routine before bed, the transformation was remarkable. Within weeks, her headaches disappeared and her memory lapses became less frequent. She told me with a smile that she could finally enjoy her crossword puzzles again without frustration. What touched me most was when she said, "I thought I was losing myself, but it turns out I just needed to change the way I sleep." That story is why I'm so passionate about this message. Seniors often blame aging for problems that are actually preventable. When you learn to stop sleeping in ways that harm your brain and start supporting it instead, the difference can be life-changing. I've seen patients regain not only sharper memory, but also brighter moods, better energy, and more confidence in their daily lives. And if Margaret could turn things around at 67, there's no reason you can't do the same at 60, 70, or even 80.
When I think about how many seniors quietly struggle with restless nights, I can't help but reflect on the deeper role sleep plays in our health. Sleep is not simply about shutting down for the night. It's about restoration, balance, and renewal. For someone in their 20s, missing a few hours here and there may not feel like much, but after 60, every night of poor quality sleep adds up. It affects memory, balance, heart health, and even digestion. And here's the surprising thing. Often the root of that problem isn't sleep duration at all, but sleep position. Let me explain this in simple terms. Inside your brain, there is a remarkable system known as the glymphatic system. Think of it as the brain's plumbing network. During the day, as you think, move, and engage with the world, waste products accumulate. At night, while you sleep, the glymphatic system flushes those toxins away. One of those toxins is a protein called beta amyloid, which is closely linked to memory decline when it builds up. Now here's the crucial point. This cleansing process works most efficiently when your body is positioned in a way that allows fluid to drain smoothly. In other words, the way you lie down at night can either help your brain detoxify or prevent it from doing its job. I remember another patient, George, who was 72 when he came to me. A retired engineer, very sharp-minded, but he was frustrated because he'd been waking up groggy every morning, needing several cups of coffee just to feel human. His wife told me, "Doctor, he snores so loud I can't sleep either, and sometimes it sounds like he stops breathing." Sure enough, George was sleeping flat on his back, head tilted backward, airway partially blocked. Not only was his brain struggling to clear toxins overnight, but his oxygen supply was being cut off for moments at a time. That's why he felt exhausted and why his mind wasn't as sharp as it used to be. When I explained to George that his sleeping position was likely one of the culprits, he was skeptical at first. After all, how could something as simple as the way he lay in bed have such an impact on his memory and energy? But after 2 weeks of adjusting his posture, rolling slightly onto his side, using a pillow that supported his neck rather than forcing it upward, he experienced one of the best mornings he had in years. He told me, "Doc, I actually woke up before my alarm, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I needed coffee to get going." His wife was even happier because his snoring was quieter and she could finally sleep through the night. That's the power of paying attention to details we often dismiss. Seniors sometimes assume brain decline is inevitable, that forgetfulness and fatigue are just part of getting older. But in reality, small, consistent changes can protect the brain in ways that medication alone never could. And protecting your brain isn't just about preventing memory loss. It's about living fully, enjoying your independence, and continuing to share laughter and wisdom with your family. Now, I want to pause here and ask you something. If you've ever woken up with a stiff neck, a headache, or that heavy fog that makes the day feel longer than it should, type yes in the comments. If not, just type no. Either way, your response matters, because I read those comments to learn how I can guide you more personally. And while you're here, please hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. It helps this community grow, and it helps me continue sharing advice that makes a real difference for people over 60. Back to George. What I admired most about him was how willing he was to try something new, even after decades of habits. At 72, it's not always easy to adjust, but he reminded me of a truth I've seen over and over again. It's never too late to protect your brain and feel better. George wasn't just more alert after his sleep improved. He also became more engaged in his hobbies, like woodworking, and more playful with his grandchildren. His wife told me, with a grin, "I feel like I've got my husband back." That's the kind of transformation I want every senior to experience. The beauty of this is that it's not complicated, it's not expensive, and it doesn't require special equipment. It simply requires awareness and willingness. Once you understand that your sleeping position isn't just a matter of comfort, but a matter of brain protection, it becomes much easier to prioritize. Every night is an opportunity to either give your brain the support it needs or to unknowingly stress it further. And here's what I want you to take away. You are not powerless in this. Far from it. Whether you're 60, 70, or 80, you can take steps tonight that could make tomorrow brighter, clearer, and more joyful. That's what Margaret and George discovered, and that's what you can discover too.
One of the most touching things about helping seniors with sleep is watching how even small improvements ripple through the rest of their lives. I've seen it time and again. Better sleep doesn't just give you energy, it brightens your mood, sharpens your focus, and even makes your relationships stronger. When the brain gets the deep rest it needs, everything else starts to fall into place. And for those of us over 60, this isn't just a luxury, it's a foundation for staying healthy and independent. Take, for example, a gentleman named Harold, 75 years old, who came to me after noticing that his short-term memory was slipping. He'd walk into a room and forget why, or he'd leave his keys in odd places. His wife worried constantly that it might be the early stages of dementia. But as I asked him about his nightly routine, something stood out. Harold liked to fall asleep in his recliner, chin tilted to his chest, before eventually stumbling to bed in the middle of the night. He thought it didn't matter, since he still logged about 7 hours of sleep. But in reality, his posture during those first few hours was putting pressure on his airway, reducing oxygen to his brain and disrupting the very cleaning process his brain depended on to stay sharp. I explained to Harold what I've shared with you, that the brain has its own housekeeping system, and if we block or restrict it through poor sleep posture, waste builds up. That buildup doesn't always show up overnight. Sometimes it's subtle, starting with a little forgetfulness or slower thinking. But over time, it can snowball into bigger concerns. Harold was stunned. "You mean," he asked me, "all those nights in the chair might be part of the problem?" And I told him honestly, yes, they might be. But the good news was that it wasn't too late to change. We worked together on a plan. Instead of collapsing into the recliner, Harold started a simple bedtime routine: dim lights, gentle stretching, and lying down on his side with a supportive but not overly thick pillow. The first week was challenging. Habits, especially ones we've had for years, don't always shift easily. But after about 3 weeks, something remarkable happened. Harold came back to my office with a sparkle in his eye and told me, "Doc, I feel like someone lifted a fog off me. I can actually remember what I went into the kitchen for." His wife added that his mood had lightened and that he was more engaged in conversations. That's the heart of what I want for you. Protecting your brain overnight isn't about fear. It's about giving yourself the gift of clarity, energy, and joy. At 60, 70, or 80, you deserve mornings where you wake up refreshed, not weighed down by brain fog. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need fancy machines or expensive pills to achieve that. Just awareness and small changes. Now, let me ask you this. Do you usually sleep on your back, side, or stomach? Type it in the comments below. Sharing that simple answer might help someone else recognize they're not alone. And while you're there, remember to like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. That way, you won't miss the next conversation we have together, and I can keep bringing you advice that makes real sense for life after 60. Harold's story is a reminder that our bodies are resilient. Even when we've built up years of less than ideal habits, the body and brain are eager to respond when we give them the right conditions. The truth is, aging doesn't have to mean decline. It can mean wisdom, vibrancy, and even renewed strength if we're willing to nurture the basics like sleep. I often think of sleep as the silent healer. Unlike exercise or diet changes, which are active and sometimes demanding, sleep is a gift we give ourselves by simply allowing the body to do what it already knows how to do. But the key is making sure we're not unintentionally standing in its way. Lying flat on your back with your chin tilted up, dozing in a recliner, stacking pillows too high, or twisting into positions that restrict airflow. These are the subtle habits that can chip away at your brain's health without you realizing it. And when patients like Harold discover the power of shifting those habits, their whole outlook changes. They no longer feel trapped by getting older. They begin to see that they still have control, still have choices, still have the ability to protect their minds and bodies in meaningful ways. That realization, to me, is one of the most empowering gifts of medicine. If there's one message I hope you carry with you after listening today, it's that the way you sleep is not just about comfort. It's about protecting your most precious organ, your brain. For decades, many of my patients believed that memory loss, daytime fatigue, and morning grogginess were unavoidable parts of aging. But what I've witnessed over and over is that when seniors stop sleeping in positions that strain their body and block their brain's natural cleansing, something beautiful happens. Clarity returns, energy rises, and confidence in daily life is restored. I think back to Margaret, who came to me at 67 convinced that her memory lapses were permanent. She believed she was losing herself, when in truth, her brain was simply struggling to do its overnight housekeeping. By changing how she slept, she gave herself mornings filled with crossword puzzles, sharper conversations, and laughter with her grandchildren. I think of George, who rediscovered energy and restored peace in his household just by adjusting how he positioned his head at night. And Harold, who walked into my office weeks later with pride in his voice because he could finally remember the little details of his day again. These aren't small victories, these are life-changing. So let me turn to you now. What would it mean for you to wake up tomorrow morning feeling refreshed, clear, and ready to enjoy your day? What difference would it make if you could carry on conversations without searching for words, or take part in your favorite hobbies without the frustration of brain fog? That's the gift of giving your brain the support it needs while you sleep. It's not complicated, it's not costly, and it's certainly not out of reach. I've often said that sleep is the most underappreciated form of medicine. A pill can mask a symptom for a time, but restorative sleep can heal at the root. By protecting your brain overnight, by stopping the habits that silently chip away at your clarity, you're investing in more than just the next day. You're investing in your future independence, your relationships, and the moments of joy still ahead. And those moments matter more than anything. If this message has spoken to you, I'd love to know. Type yes in the comments if you believe better sleep could change your mornings, or type no if you're still unsure. I read every response because your voices guide me in what to share next. And please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. That way, together we can continue building a community of seniors who choose vitality over decline. What I want you to remember is simple. Aging is not the end of growth. It is the beginning of living with wisdom. Every night you close your eyes, you have the chance to protect your brain, to nurture it, and to give it the space it needs to thrive. Small changes like adjusting your posture, supporting your neck properly, or avoiding the recliner neck can add years of clarity and energy to your life. As I sign off, I want to leave you with this encouragement. You are not too old, it is not too late, and you have more influence over your brain health than you may realize. Margaret, George, and Harold all proved that at 67, 72, and 75, and so can you. Let tonight be the night you begin. Choose to sleep in a way that honors your brain and wake tomorrow with hope for a brighter, clearer day. I'm Dr. Nolan Easton, and it has been my privilege to share this with you. Remember, you deserve nights of peace and mornings full of energy, clarity, and joy. Protect your brain overnight, and the rewards will follow you every day. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you in the next video.